The denizens of the Land of Shadow are well accustomed to tragedy, whether they're the ones inflicting it or they're suffering themselves. We know how the practices of this land subjugated the shamans and used their malleable flesh in unspeakable experiments, all for the sake of the Hornsent's religious goals. But even those who were Hornsent themselves were twisted into blood fiends, turned into flymen, and had their homes razed by Messmer's flames as he purged the land in the name of Queen Marika. Suffice to say, the culture of the Hornsent stands hand in hand with tragedy, and Miquella's follower, referred to only by the name of his people, is no exception. Hornsent is a man seeking vengeance for all those who once called the Land of Shadow home, and while we never learn his true name, his tale is one of the more interesting our primary NPCs in Shadow of the Erdtree has to offer, as our actions either help him fulfill his deepest wish or break him entirely. Welcome back to Elden Lore, our weekly series where we discuss the people, places, and grudges of the Lands Between and the Land of Shadow. If this is your first time finding the channel, welcome. We hope you enjoy our latest lore dive and stick around for more. With over 150 episodes in this playlist, we've covered most topics you could think to explore in Elden Ring. But if there's something you want to know that you don't see here, let us know in the comments and we'll get on it. We also have a Discord where members of our community come together to discuss everything from Elden Ring to Demon Souls. So check it out if you want to spend some time with other FromSoft fans. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing, but no pressure. Your viewership is always enough for us. With that said, let's get back to the story of Hornsent. When meeting the various allies who accompany us across the Land of Shadow, Hornsent can be encountered alongside Freya, who tells us a small bit about him.
I wonder why the eternally dour fellow keeps his distance. He's one of the tower's Hornsent. I can only assume he fights for his own reasons and carries his own burdens, but we needn't concern ourselves with his affairs. He too was charmed by kindly Miquella and guided here, and that makes us allies. We're not gods, you and I. Even if we did manage to dig up the secrets of his past, I doubt our meddling could ever amount to much.
This doesn't tell us much, as we have no context at this point to know what a Hornsent is, but we do know that for now, he's on our side. We can speak with him ourselves, and he urges us to follow in Miquella's footsteps.
Another, treading the heels of Miquella. Then, as that woman would surely say, we are in our purposes well aligned. But understand, your kind are not forgiven. The Erdtree is my people's enemy. By Marika long betrayed, set aflame. I believe Miquella's apologies when he says our delivery will come, but never will I see your kind as worthy. And yet my oath I cannot overlook. If Miquella it is whom you would seek, then comrade, allow me to give you this. These are the sites of the crosses I found. I urge you, follow after Miquella. As long as you abide by his footfalls, you will be no enemy to me.
Very quickly we understand where Hornsent stands. Though we fight on the same side, he sees us as unforgivable for the atrocities visited upon his land, as we hail from the Lands Between. It's tough to reconcile, being seen as both an ally and an enemy. Upon leaving Castle Ensis, we see both Letta and Hornsent standing by a piece of Miquella, and Letta can tell us more about Hornsent's origins.
Wondering about the Hornsent, are you? True enough. In any other circumstance, he'd be at our throats. Long ago, Queen Marika commanded Sir Messmer to purge the Tower folk, a cleansing by fire. It's no wonder the Hornsent holds the Erdtree in contempt. That aside, man is by nature a creature of conquest, and in this regard, the Tower folk are no different. They were never saints. They just happened to be on the losing side of a war, but it's still a wretched shame.
This is the first conversation we have laying plain that the Hornsent as a people were victims to Marika and her first son. This man has every right to despise us as people of the Erdtree, and the new prospective Elden Lord no less. When we encounter Hornsent again, he's still trying to be helpful toward us.
Mikola has said as much himself. He wishes now to throw it all away. He says the act, though undoubtedly painful, will sear clean the Erdtree's wanton sin. The truth of his claim can be found at each cross, which is evidence enough to earn my belief. Go to the misshapen tree of Umbra. In that forsaken place, blood must spill. The blood of your fellows, the Erdtree faithful.
Hornsent believes in Mikola's promise to right his mother's wrongs, and that we have come to help him achieve this goal. He points us in the right direction, so that we might do battle with those who sacked his home. But on the way, Mikola's great rune shatters, which allows the true nature of Hornsent to be laid plain. Speaking with him after Mikola's enchantment has been destroyed has him share his true goal with us, the defeat of Messmer the Impaler, the man who burned his home and loved ones.
What remains there to be said? Do you presume us allies even now? Though Mikola's spell is newly broken, I must profess, the spell mattered little. Uphold his covenant, Mikola shall, and in godhood redeem our rueful clan. Then Marika and vilest Erdtree both will at last be from divinity wrenched. And surely, contented I will be. But first, clear resounds the call of vengeance. The Impaler, Messmer, must pay his due. In vengeance for the flames, my blade I wield. How could I allow myself to forget? Revenge alone assures me peace of mind. Think not to hinder me upon my path, lest you too wish to face the reckoning.
It's at this point Hornsent's quest opens up, because there are multiple outcomes possible. If we speak with Needle Knight Letta, she will share with us her trepidations about her companions, and ask us who we think needs to be weeded out from our band of miscreants. If we suggest Hornsent, she sees wisdom in our words.
Hornsent. On one hand, he trusts Mikola the Kind to bring salvation to his people. With the enchantment lifted, his vengeful passions may once again ignite. But surely he'd be mindful of kindly Mikola's promise. On the other hand, the Hornsent does present his own dangers. Perhaps your concerns are well-founded after all. Allow me some time to mull it over. There you are. It took me long enough, I know. But I've made my decision. I believe it wisest to eliminate the Hornsent. If he were to point his blade at Sir Messmer or Queen Marika, perhaps it would not matter, but vengeance changes a man. And one day, his blade may turn towards Mikola the Kind. Kindly Mikola is, after all, the true golden child. Even if he discards every last drop of his being, his lineage will always remain. I believe the Hornsent suspects what I have in mind. He never placed his full trust in me, even under the effect of kindly Mikola's spell. He must have recognized something. The scent of the killer that slept within me, the stench of crusted blood. I will follow the Hornsent. To have his revenge on Sir Messmer, there is only one place he will go. The Black Keep.
From here we have 4 choices. Help Letta murder Hornsent due to his potential to betray Mikola. Defend Hornsent from Letta's attack. Summon Hornsent to help us defeat Messmer the Impaler. Or ignore his summon sign and face Messmer ourselves without his help. If we choose to fight Hornsent alongside Letta, he's unsurprised, saying,
So, your mongrel blood shows through at last. I was a fool to expect more of you. Small wonder Mikola employed his spells.
Once we defeat him, we learn the truth of his vengeance, as he says,
Apologies. Oh, mother, wife, and child.
In days now past, Hornsent had a family. His grudge was not just for his people, but his mother, wife, and children were taken from him by Messmer the Impaler, and following Mikola is his best chance at vengeance. If we choose to help Hornsent, not much changes. We can still summon him for our fight with Messmer, where he shouts to this demigod,
Messmer, foe of my beloved people, in vengeance for the flames, my blade I wield.
We can then help him achieve his vengeance and attempt to fill that emptiness within our friend.
Meet again, I see, comrade in arms, upon his end. Did you see Messmer's face? 'Twas sublime. A very tangle of snakes. To think he dared call us savages, when he himself was most base of all. To say the least, I am to you indebted, yet unquenched remains my thirst for revenge. The death of Messmer was merely the start. Now comes the piper to collect from Marika, her offspring, and all the Erd Tree's denizens. In vengeance for the flames, my blade I wield. If Mikola's redemption soothes the ache that throbs within, demanding blessed vengeance, then I wish not to be by him redeemed.
Unfortunately, Leda's assumption that the death of Messmer may not be enough to slake Hornsent's thirst comes true, and he plans to turn his blade against any and all who hail from the land of the Erd Tree, even us. As we make our way to the Church of the Bud, Hornsent will invade our world and try to cut us down. Regardless of our previous relationship as comrades, fighting side by side to quell the flames of the Impaler, Hornsent will attack with fervor and bloodlust, and we must cut him down in order to proceed. If we choose not to summon him in the fight against Messmer, he's found after the battle, completely broken.
What cruelty is this? Who would rob me of my one vital purpose? Am I so feeble, witless, dull of blade, that vengeance was never to have been mine? Oh, mother. Oh, most cherished wife and child. It seems vengeance was not mine to enact. Where now should I point my tired blade? Where now should I point my tired blade?
In this scenario, we actually face Hornsent again as he stands by Leda, fully committed to Mikola. Leda manipulates Hornsent's despair in order to utilize him as another weapon for her lord, as his broken spirit has lost all purpose. These various possible quest lines all show us how Hornsent was shaped by tragedy and doomed to have his life end in tragedy as well. But there's more to learn about this man from his set and his weapons. Hornsent wears the caterpillar mask, as well as the braided cord robe, both of which are meant to help him in his quest for vengeance. The caterpillar mask is a grotesque mask constructed from countless solidified caterpillars, a ritual implement of the greater potentates of Bonny Village, used to ward off thoughts of impurity, doubt, temptation, and other wickedness one is vulnerable to while absorbed in divine ritual. This points us toward the idea that perhaps Hornsent was once a potentate, cutting up shamans and stuffing them into jars, but I don't believe that's the case. The potentates wield large cleavers, very different from Hornsent's slender falx, and they wear no clothes aside from undergarments. I think Hornsent wears this mask for its benefits of warding off impurity, doubt, and temptation, all things that may make him stray from his path of vengeance. In fact, I believe falx gives us a better idea of who Hornsent was in times of peace. Curved swords with long sickle-like blades, a pair of weapons made to wield in both hands, forged by a Hornsent in the name of revenge. In vengeance for the flames, my blade I wield. As we learn throughout Shadow of the Erdtree, smithing and the forge are important to Hornsent culture, and if this man could forge his dual blades himself, I believe that may indicate to us that Hornsent was once a blacksmith, a noble profession in his land that likely afforded him a comfortable life with his family. This makes it all the more tragic that they were ripped away from him, and that he needed to use his skills to forge a blade of his own that would cut down Messmer and avenge their deaths. The braided cord robe also helps us see into the mind of Hornsent. Ragged black cloak overlaid with braided cord, attire of a vengeance-seeking Hornsent. The braided cord ties together the vow of the Revenger with the victim's grudges. It must never come undone. With this in mind, we can see that unlike the nearly naked potentates of the Bonnie village, Hornsent wore his braided cords, perhaps one for each member of his family, to represent the loss he's endured and his vow to hold it close until his revenge is complete. The Hornsent Seeker of Revenge never shares his name with us, nor can we learn it from our compatriots or any item description in Shadow of the Erdtree. Instead, we simply refer to him as Hornsent, and in this way, he becomes the face of his people. He carries the anguish of their destroyed land on his shoulders, as he fights to bring justice to the man who burned the very souls of so many. This faceless avenger can be seen as a representation of the will of all Hornsent to take back their land from the oppressors who subjugated it. However, no man can be a symbol alone. While we never learn his name, underneath the mask, Hornsent was a son, a husband, and a father, who had all the most important people of his life taken from him, burned by Messmer's flame until they were naught but ash. Hornsent may claim to fight for the will of his people, in vengeance for the flames, but he calls those very people rueful, as if to acknowledge that they performed acts that led them to their demise. In truth, those Hornsent wishes to avenge are those closest to him, his family. Avenging the rest of his people is merely a cover for a more selfish, if truly understandable, desire. It's a shame that Hornsent could not let go of his lust for vengeance, even after Miquella's defeat. If he never attacked us outside of the Church of the Bud, perhaps he would have witnessed our ascension as Elden Lord, and we could have done something to quell his anger. But then again, once you're lost so deeply in your pursuit of vengeance, is there really any way out? Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Elden Lore as we explored the tragedy of Hornsent, our ally and enemy. Why do you think Hornsent donned the caterpillar mask on his quest for vengeance? Was he a potentate, stuffing shamans into jars, or a blacksmith with the knowledge to forge fine blades? Did he truly wish to avenge his people, or did he want to cut down Messmer to avenge his family? How is Hornsent so easily swayed if he's denied his revenge? Let us know your thoughts and theories in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and set notifications to all so you never miss out on any of our lore dives. We look forward to seeing you again for more Elden Lore.